It's Saturday morning, and here's our guest host, Bill Boggs.
Hey, hi everybody. Thank you very much. Ed Ladd is right. It is Saturday morning. We are here, and if this isn't a live television show, I don't know what is. Now, but I want to correct one thing. I am not actually guest host. I am really designated host, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm from Philadelphia, right? And tomorrow, for the first time and maybe the only time in my life, I am going to the World Series. Right. Okay. Now I have World Series fever, right? When I look at Pete Rose, he doesn't look like an old man to me. He looks like a very old man. Anyway, how many people in the audience are for the Orioles? All right, you can leave. That's fine. How many are for the Phillies? Good. Okay. Well, on today's show, we have a wonderful program lined up for you. I want you to sit back, relax, have that second cup of coffee, and let me get our cast of regulars out here and find out what is in store for us. It's going to be a good morning. Hello! No, you don't want that. Annemarie Huste, what's on board for you?
We are going to make magic today, even
Magic?
with my deep voice, yes.
And what happened to that voice?
My daughter thought that she should hand down her call to me.
I won't be kissing you during the show, Annemarie. Warren Eckstein, what's up?
Snakes today, some crawly little snakes. We're going to bring them out to the audience. I'm sure they're all thrilled about that.
Raise your hand if you want a snake in your lap. Come on. Some people will do practically anything to get on television. These are poisonous snakes. Anyway, thank you very much. Next up, Mike Gallagher, our Mr. Fix-It. What do you say about the Phillies or the Orioles?
I'm for the Phillies, but what happened to him last night?
Just a little bit of an error. This is it's the way the ball bounces. Thank you, Mike. Oh, what are you doing on
I
television?
brought my snake in also.
Your snake?
Oh, I'm going to be cleaning out drains, and I did bring in a snake.
You're going to be cleaning out drains on television.
Yes.
Oh, that's Saturday morning. We're live. Drains on television.
Kitchen
Why don't you just drop a little Drano in there?
I'm not into chemicals.
Oh, got it. Okay, here's Ruth Katz, our crafts. Ruth Katz, our crafts
Good,
expert.
That's very good.
You know, we match.
Yes, we do. Mauve and lilac.
Who's the mauve? What are we doing today?
I'm leaving today. If both these guys have snakes, we're doing nothing.
Something about bags, right?
Yes, we're doing something about bags. We're bagging the show.
Okay, get out your bags. She'll show you what to do with them. And finally, the man who identifies himself as Mr. Mother Earth,
Good morning,
Joel
Bill.
Rapp. Good morning, Joel.
How are you today, Bill?
Well, I'm okay. I wish the Phillies had won last night, but I'm going to go down and root them on tomorrow.
Well, you know, I'm a big Dodger fan.
Thanks, Joel.
Last week I had on my Dodger hat. This week I could trade you. I could put on a Philly hat. I'm rooting for him.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Anyway, it's the World Series. It's a great time. What's up? Cactus?
Yes,
Cacti?
in keeping with the theme of the show today, which seems to be snakes, I'm going to be doing desert cactus where the snakes would live.
Okay, good. We'll see you
Okay.
later on today's program. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, also on today's show, we're going to have Serena the belly dancer. She's going to be giving our entire cast lessons on belly dancing. We have Leonard McGill, who is a men's style expert. He's going to show us how to save money on men's clothing. He's got a lot of interesting tips. We're going to have a little modeling there on vintage clothing. We also have award-winning furniture from a design competition. But coming up next, the sound you may or may not be hearing is due to modern-day blacksmith Dennis Usilski. So stay tuned. We will be right back, and we are live! Okay, welcome back to Saturday morning. You know, in this day of modern technology, it is nice to know that there are still certain things that can only be done by hand by skilled craftsmen. With us today is a master blacksmith. His name is Dennis Usilski. Welcome, Dennis. All right. Dennis, I don't have one of these in my home. What is this thing?
This is an antique portable forge. It was built around 1880 in Pennsylvania. And what it is a mechanism where you can heat iron up. So
how does it work?
Well, it's
you use a match on that, didn't you?
No. Actually, a large ball of paper will get it going, but it has a series of flat belts, and when you turn this large wheel, it turns little wheels.
There's a little fan under there that
That's
actually
right.
makes the thing
It
work.
actuates that little fan, blows air up through the fire, and gets the temperature up to about 3,200 degrees down inside the forge.
That's hot.
That's hot. Well,
Now, Dennis, actually, it's that hot.
Yeah.
What actually does a blacksmith do? The reason I say the question is, if I say to the audience, blacksmith, what do you picture? A horse like this, right? And the horse is yawning, and the guy's hitting. But that's not it, right?
Well, that's part of it, but traditionally blacksmiths are iron workers. They made everything from cooking utensils to farm tools to carpenter's tools. Just about anything made out of iron or steel at one time had to be hand forged.
But it's that
and handmade.
Western movie that gives us the image.
That's
of the
right. Well, it's Gunsmoke actually that did it all.
By the way, does that hurt the horse when you put the shoe on? Not that this is something you do a lot of, but
well, not really. It's dead matter that you're nailing the nails into.
dead matter. That's what you call it. It's another word for hoofs.
Yes.
Dead matter.
Yes,
All right.
that's it.
Where do you learn to do all this?
Well, I was an apprentice at Old Bethpage, the village restoration in Plainview. And,
Who taught you?
Well, the blacksmith that was there at the time, Werner Wiegand, was my instructor. I worked there for 4 years as his apprentice.
What gets a young guy into wanting to be a blacksmith?
Well,
rather than, say, a nuclear physicist or a brain surgeon or a plumber? Why?
You have to like to make things, and you have to like to make things that are permanent. And iron is certainly permanent. When you make something out of iron, it's there forever.
Well, what do you make today? Why don't you show us some of your things?
Sure.
Just happen to have
Just
display
happen to have.
right here. These are all things, although these look older than the Phillies, they are in fact about a couple years old, right?
That's right. This is mostly pieces that are reproductions of early pieces that would have been forged by blacksmiths. Starting down on this end, we have some different kinds of lighting devices, this being a Betty lamp. It's a grease-burning lamp.
Why Betty?
From the German word besser, meaning better. And
Betty lamp? Okay.
Betty lamp.
And it's attached to what would basically be
just a candle holder, an adjustable candle holder.
This, I understand, is
an open hearth toaster. That's right. It would sit in front of the fire. The bread would go in between each bale there. When the bread was toasted on one side, you'd spin it around and toast the bread on the other side.
Can you imagine Sunday morning, you're waiting with your coffee in your hand with your English muffins in there going, come on, let's go, I have to read the Times. It's not going to happen. What else we have?
Well, some antique tools, such as this tool, which is a measuring device called a traveler.
How does it work?
Well, it's just you count the rotations and you divide by the number of inches, about 13 inches on this particular one, and you know how far you've gone. Used in making the iron bands for tires.
You could use this while jogging.
Yeah, I guess so. You'd have to count
Measure
quick,
the distance.
though. Yep.
Okay.
And then I also produced a series of reproduction puzzles.
These are great puzzles. Well, watch how he does this.
Okay, well,
As long as he doesn't
this
ask
is
me
one
to
of
do it.
our more simpler puzzles. The idea of this one is to remove the iron heart.
Right. And the man is not a magician. But
No.
Okay,
You'll
go
see
ahead.
exactly how it works. It's
Sure.
okay. And from there, they get a little more complex.
It's already complex.
Yes.
All right, next. We're just moving right along. What I really would like, as long as we've gone to the trouble of getting this thing all set
Sure.
up, you actually work with this, correct?
That's right.
This is your tool.
This is my tool. This is my forge. That's right.
How about hitting a little iron?
Well, how would
for
you
us?
like to hit some iron?
Anytime, man.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. How about we make a puzzle?
All right, fine.
We're going to make one of the puzzles like the one that looks like two horseshoes.
Okay, good.
We're going to start out by heating the iron up so it's nice and red. Pump some air through the forge, get the fire going.
Any dangers associated with this at all?
Well, certainly. It's very hot material, so you have to be cautious of it. But you heat a very small area at one time, so you really, if you pay attention, you're not in any danger.
I notice you're not wearing goggles or a flak jacket or...
No, that's not
vest.
necessary. The fire stays put.
All right.
Here's your weapon.
You know, the last time I had one of these things in my hand was I made a birdhouse in 8th grade. How many of you guys made birdhouses when you were in school, right? It's the one thing we did in carpentry class.
Okay, if you wanted to come around to this side of the anvil, what you're going to do is I'm going to place this hot iron across the horn right here, and then you're going to whack it into the shape of a horseshoe.
Sure, I'm just going to whack it just like
That's
that.
right.
That'll be simple. Horseshoe whacking. It's my
Horseshoe
hobby.
whacking. Now I'm
All
going
right,
to
let's
cool
go.
off one end, and that's where you're going to hit it.
Where,
Right
just
there.
on the end?
Where I've cooled it off. Give it a good shot.
was that?
Oh, no, like you were mad at it.
All right, that's easy to do.
There we go.
All right.
And you can see when the steel is nice and hot, it moves right around. Now you'll want to hit it right up on top there and make it meet the shape of the horn.
Where can you get
Very
these
good.
puzzles, by the way?
Just hammer it right down. Well, they're available in department stores throughout the country. Sears and Roebuck's has them in
And
their
they're all
catalog.
handmade by you?
Well, me and my apprentices, sure, very good. Let's put some more heat to this thing, and we've almost got a puzzle.
That's going to be a puzzle?
Oh, it certainly is. I know it's puzzling.
By the way, while he's doing that, just this, in case you didn't see this before, this is how the puzzles come. This is what they look like. They come in an old wooden box.
That's right, and they're
And
distributed
this
by
is the Iron Heart puzzle right there.
distributed by Evermore Industries.
Ooh, I'm ready.
Ready.
I'm over
okay,
anxious
well,
at this point.
the fire's not quite ready, but we're just about ready to go here. Now, as I said, this is about 3,200 degrees down inside the forge. The steel comes out a little over 2,000, and you tell that by its temperature,
Well,
by
how
its
come
color.
the bottom doesn't burn out, Dennis?
Well,
I mean,
because the air that's coming through is in a raised portion so that the firebox itself never gets heated up to the extent that the material you put in it does.
how many people, just say yes, remember having coal heat in their house? Did you like shoveling it for your parents? That was the fun part. Came down the chute, then you shoveled it right in. I remember that was about this big at the time.
Well, this is a little different than the coal you would use for heat.
Why?
This is a soft coal, a bituminous coal, and it accepts the forced draft a lot better.
I always prefer
One more time.
anthracite myself.
Ah, yes,
Where?
okay. Right where I've cooled it
Oh,
off.
excuse me.
There we go. Looking like a puzzle already. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm looking like the puzzle.
Hit it right up on top now. There we go. Now a little more on the side. Oh, looking good. Terrific. Okay. Just give it a little shot down there.
One of the best shoes I've ever hit. Where,
Yep,
right there?
right there. Yep, just even those two off. Very good. Now just let me hold it like so.
This is the first part in what's going to
That's
be.
right.
What's the name of this puzzle? What do you want?
This is the shackled ring. Hit it right around there. Okay. Terrific.
Dinner!
Now we're going to cool it off.
What?
I'll give you the honors. Just stick it in that tub of water there and take it out and let it heat up a little bit. Okay. There we go. A little bit more. Not staying
The last
wet
time I did
there.
something like that,
a little
it had a
bit
piece
more.
of meat on it. Good.
Now we're ready.
All right, good.
Now how about I put your puzzle together for you?
Good.
Now I've taken the liberty of making one half of the puzzle, and I'll just drop these little rings on for you.
Well, if people want to see you in action, are you available for public consumption?
For public consumption,
Yeah.
surely.
Where can we go and watch you really do your thing in
Well,
more than 9 minutes?
My shop is in Setauket, New York.
All right.
And I run my forge there 5 days a week. And anytime anyone is in Setauket, they can just pull in the driveway and come see it.
You accept visitors in Setauket, New York. Where is
That's
Setauket,
right.
New York?
It's between Port Jefferson and Smithtown.
All right, good. The man's name is Dennis Usilski. Dennis,
the
we're not
name?
going to finish the puzzle, but the puzzles are, by the way, sold by Evermore Industries. For everybody
That's
who's
right.
ever, at any point in their past, had a blacksmith in the family or used the help of these great people who helped build this country, let's have a nice hand and thank you for Dennis Usilski. All right, coming up next, we have Ruth Katz, who is bagging it. We'll be back right after these messages. Thank you. Well, here we are with Ruth Katz. Ruth, you give me the distinct impression that you are the neighborhood bag lady today.
I am. No matter where I go shopping in New York, I always have about 12 shopping bags.
You
I
must
come
look
back,
cute walking
I
down
come
the
back
street.
to my building and they all know. Well, of course, because in my business, when I'm out shopping to do an article for a magazine or a craft project, I have to pick up props everywhere. Tons of stuff.
But shopping bags used to just be the big brown thing that you lugged along, made
Right.
sure, hope it didn't break out the bottom. What's changed about shopping bags over the last couple of years?
Well, we as New Yorkers constantly have bags because we don't live where people, we don't drive cars. In the suburbs, that's what people do. And we're dependent on bags. So now, I notice when I'm leaving the house with one bag, I try to color coordinate to my outfit. People have status shopping bags.
What color would you be wearing with your mauve outfit
I would be
here?
wearing mauve and lilac, but of course. to
What are you
match.
actually going to do
Okay,
today?
We are going to talk about the brown bag today. The brown paper bag is 100 years old this year. If you can believe that. Did you know that?
do your
Did you know
thing.
you were going to find that out today?
At 100 years old? Today?
Yes. 100 years
I'm
ago.
not going to sing happy birthday to a bag.
Here,
I've done
take
that
a
in the past.
bag.
No, I'm going to take this bag and
Have
go
a
out
bag. Go have a little
and find
fun.
something historic to put in it.
To celebrate. 100 years ago, a man named Charles Stilwell invented the SOS, the self-opening sack. That is the precursor of our brown bag. And we are going to celebrate a little bit about the bag today and show you some of the things that have happened since. You know, we use that word bag in a lot of expressions. What's your bag? You old bag, money bags, and there are a million kinds of bags. I'm going to name just a few. A beach bag, a carpet bag, a doggy bag. Warren, a doggy bag, a duffel bag, an evening bag, flea bag, garbage bag, ice bag, saddle bag, shopping bags, of course, even tea bags, tote bags, and of course the brown bag. And when you're bagging it for lunch, I want to show you a few things you can do to make that brown bag a little bit more interesting for your children and for yourself, so that you can wrap gifts in it as well. One of the things you might do for kids with a brown bag is put some white vinyl on the front, a self-adhesive paper that can be erased. And I just put a big piece here and include in the lunch bag a grease pencil so you can scribble and doodle. And on the other side, put a smaller one, and then, not with a grease pencil because you want this permanent, take a permanent marker and make a tic-tac-toe board. And this way, when the kids are done with their lunch, they have a little something to play with. Include an extra napkin so they can erase. And I'll start this off, and I'll wait till Bill comes back. We can have a little game later. I'll be blue, you be red. Another thing you can do for giving a gift in the bag, since you can get so many gorgeous decorative ones, not just that brown paper bag, but look at this panoply of pretty blue ones in almost every pattern and color you can find. Include a little pretty tissue paper, dress it up with a ribbon, as I did on this one for a child with a little brown ribbon and all these teddy bears, and it's a great way to wrap a gift that's quick and easy. But here's something else you can do. I took this pretty bag that's a hot pink color. Put your gift inside, and let me do this so you can see it. Let me just move my bags, bag my bags. Make a few folds back and forth in an accordion style, and I'm going to make 6 folds on this one. Very simple, about a ½ inch each. No more than that, 3/4 of an inch maximum. And depending on the size of the bag, that will determine how many you'll have to make. When you have this many done, fold it so that your last crease is forward, and take the top fold, pick them up to each other so that the 2 sides meet, and you have to do this with someone else because you need a piece of Scotch tape handy. Tape the 2 together in the back. Let me turn this around so you can see. And you've made a little fan, and you have a little hole right here to put a ribbon through. Take a ribbon, thread it right through there, bring it all the way around to the bottom, and tie a bow right here. And when you're done, you'll have a little gift bag. Oh, hey! You'll have a little gift bag that looks like this. Now this one comes from a chocolate company, of course a chocolate company, where else would I get something from? And it's a great way to do that, and you can even do it with the old-fashioned brown bag, and pick a ribbon that looks pretty and coordinated. And as you noticed, I stuffed a lot of tissue paper in these bags. Pick a beige tissue paper, maybe like this one, and a brown ribbon, and that's a great way to take advantage of what you already have around the house to dress up your bag. Now, one other thing you can do that will dress up the bag, and would you like to give me a hand?
Absolutely.
Would you like to be my bag man?
I want to show you my favorite use of bags. I like it when you see people at 8 o'clock in the morning going to work like this. You know, I have in this bag an object that is going to the Smithsonian Institute. This is the actual last cup of coffee to go ever poured at Casey's Kitchen at the corner of 67th and 3rd. It's going to be mailed to Washington. Yeah, what can I do for you?
Yeah, before we do
Is it okay to throw a bag away, or does that hurt you personally?
No. Oh,
okay,
no,
good.
No. You said a magic word, and I should show you these because the Smithsonian Institute, our Cooper Hewitt, did an exhibit on bags, homage to the bag, as did the American Craft Museum. And these exhibits were about 2 years ago, but both catalogs still exist. And they were terrific exhibits with tons and tons of things about bags, precursors of bags, and beautifully designed bags.
How about garbage bags?
Oh, did I mention them? Garbage
No,
bags?
I think they're frequently overlooked in our culture.
And every husband in America knows about garbage bags.
It's a new form of luggage. You see people going to the airport with them now. It's the latest.
All right,
All right.
very quickly, let's show them something they can do to spruce up a bag. Little Scotch tape and these two pieces of paper. I was going to have you cut them out, but I've pre-cut
Whatever you
them.
want.
If you will tape both of those right here to the top of my bag. No, not like that, like this, like ears.
Gee, I wonder what this is going to turn out to be.
This is something you can do for the kids after.
Aw.
No, tape in the front.
See, listen,
After-
I haven't taken that many crafts courses in my life, Ruth. This is it, actually.
Is that a request for remedial crafts?
That's right. My use of Scotch tape is
Oops, let me grab the rest of my rabbit.
not going to
as we
get me a
might have guessed.
PhD. Okay.
We have a little pink nose.
Do I
Can you
put that
tape
on?
that? Yeah, we won't glue. We'll
Do you have a
tape
nail?
fast.
I think.
Use a marker to make whiskers. 1, 2, 3, and you have the eyes there. Grab a pair of eyes.
Grab a pair of eyes, Ruth.
And
Good.
here's the tail.
And the eyes go like this. I think we
And
get
here
the
we
idea.
are. Get it?
And it's a rabbit, right?
Yes.
Now I want everybody at home to get up and do this
Now,
right
come
now.
on. This is what kid wouldn't like to make a rabbit after he's eaten his lunch?
Listen, I'm going to spend all afternoon doing this. Anyway, I want to thank you very much, Ruth. Don't draw any whiskers
How
on
about-
me. Okay, coming up next, we have Warren Eckstein with some reptilian close personal friends. They're going into the audience. He will also take your calls about animals. 212-570-1199, right after this. Thanks.
Good morning. Welcome back to Saturday Morning. I'm Warren Eckstein, and today we're going to be talking about snakes. I bet you guys are glad you picked today to come to this show. People have these phobias about snakes. They're always saying, Warren, I don't like snakes. I'm afraid of snakes. So what I decided to do today was take a poll of our audience. Now, nobody in this audience is afraid of snakes, right? Are you afraid of snakes? Would you like to give my snake a kiss? Everybody thinks they're slimy. Come on, say hello to my snake. You really don't have to kiss him. Hi, what's your name?
Barbara.
Do you like snakes?
Yes.
You want to say hello? This snake doesn't have a name. Bill's going to name him later.
Oh, he's going to name him later?
Say
Oh,
hello.
we have a name for him, Bert.
You want to touch him? He's not slimy, is he?
No, not at all.
He feels good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, who else wants to touch my snake? What about this side? You want to see my snake? I want to find the person who told me they're afraid of snakes. Are you really afraid?
Leave it there. Leave it.
From a distance. No, I won't bring him to you. I won't bring him to you. No. Why are you afraid? Bill, I knew she was afraid of snakes. Bill, talk to this lady.
Don't worry, it's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of. You know what I have in my pocket?
Okay, Bill, let's go talk about snakes. Come on.
Warren, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Every week you kiss the animals. Are you going to kiss these?
I knew you were going to say that, Bill.
Yes.
I knew you were going to say that. Sure. Give Daddy a kiss.
Let's hear a big ugh.
Come on. This, by the way, Bill, this is a corn snake. This is an American snake.
It's a pretty snake, actually.
They actually come from southern New Jersey, Louisiana, Mississippi, and the reason they're called corn snakes is simply because they used to hang out in the cornfields. And people always say, what use do snakes have? Bill, what
I was
use
just about to say, what use do snakes have? I was also about to say, Warren, I don't like snakes. I think they're slimy.
Well,
But
how they
use-
feel the snake? Any slime at all?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, it's slimy. It's a
Must be my
snake, Warren.
hands.
This is not a teddy bear or a
right.
penguin. This is a snake. It looks like a snake. It feels like a snake. It's not a pleasant creature.
I hope it feels like a snake. Well, let me tell you about corn
Go
snakes.
ahead.
They help the American farmer. They keep the rodents under control. The cornfields are just loaded with rodents, and these snakes help to keep them under control. So they have a lot of purposes. There are some poisonous snakes, which we're going to talk about.
No kidding.
Like the coral snake, the moccasin snakes.
If you saw this thing, how would you know that it wasn't a dangerous creature? It's sticking its tongue out.
Well,
It doesn't look that cute to me.
Bill, the way I talk to animals, I would simply be candid with it. Excuse me, sir, are you a poisonous snake or are you a friend? No, you can tell by the marks, the rings around it.
Do they make it a decent pet? I mean, you come home at night after a hard day at the office. Do you get any affection from a snake?
Sure, it's me, the TV show, and a snake. They're very relaxing, believe it or not. They're fine animals to deal with. They totally relax me.
They
Bill,
know you? Would they know you?
Sure, when I walk into the house, they come to the front. Uh-oh, where's he going? Oh, no.
He's going up your sleeve.
They're cold-blooded. They have to take on the warmth of the area. So, Bill, if you will hold this snake, you're glad you picked today, too, I bet.
Why couldn't I have penguins, the cutest animals in the world?
Do you believe the man asked me to bring penguins on the show?
I'm not kidding. I know I'm on television.
Look at this. I want you to notice how this man holds a snake. I want you to see that. Just like this.
Just keep that little fat little head away from me. What do you think, folks? Should I get
Fine.
hazard pay for this?
Give him a kiss, Bill.
No, I'm not kissing any snakes.
Oh, come on.
Maybe the turtle, not the snake.
Maybe the
Let's move
turtle.
on to something
Okay, let's
else.
take a look at some of our turtles. What we have over here. Oh,
Warren, am I stuck with this for the rest of
you
the
got
show?
it. In fact, the whole show. How about this?
Wow, let's hear it for the favorite little old reptilian. This turtle is older than Pete Rose. This we know for
This
sure.
turtle, by the way, it's not a turtle, it's a tortoise.
Excuse me.
It's 60 years old and will live to be about 100. Yeah, they're good friends. I want to show you how tame animals can be, though. What a face on this guy, huh? It's amazing they live to be 100. Bill!
I thought you said they were friends.
They are friends, but you know, the nerves of TV.
Oh, okay.
You know, in the way. All right, so I'm going to put him down on the ground, and then I'm going to see if he will eat out of my hand. $3.98 on the corner of 67th Street to buy grapes I want.
I know, we used to get our coffee there. but
$3.98.
Now it's a fruit stand.
His name, by the way, is Stanley.
Why?
Why? Why is your name?
Yes, why is he named Stanley?
Why Stanley?
Does he look like a Stanley?
Come, Stanley. We want to share the grape.
This is what I think is good if someone just turned on the TV set right now, you know.
Look
They had
at
a
him,
hard
he's eating out of
Friday
my
night.
hand. Is that
They
great?
turned the set on and what's happening? A grape is being eaten by a tortoise.
Bill, if you give me this snake, I want to talk a little bit more about him.
I think you
Snakes
should.
as pets. Let me talk about snakes as pets. A lot of people, give me my snake.
Warren, the snake likes me now.
I know, he's
you
really
can't just
attached
take
to
him
you.
back.
Come here, come to daddy. Remember who feeds you. Let me tell
Candy
you a little
white,
bit.
please.
He's not slimy. Snakes as pets, that was a good question. A lot of people do have snakes as pets, but you really have to understand snakes. For example, snakes get bored being in the same tank day in and day out. A lot of people will go out, they'll buy a snake, they'll put it in a tank, and that's where he is.
I mean,
Not
it's just
too
like
much
somebody
fun.
somebody to look at, but it needs interaction.
Cabin fever, just like people get cabin
Yeah.
fever, criminals get and they get nasty. So what I would suggest doing is changing the environment. Get your snakes larger tanks.
Right.
Give him rocks to play with. Give him wood to play with. And they make excellent pets, but you don't want to bring home a cobra as a pet.
What do you feed them, Warren?
These snakes eat live food, and that's one of the problems with owning snakes. You know me, I just don't like feeding them live food. So my own personal snakes, they're on a different type of diet. They'll eat
Vegetarians?
not vegetarians, but they'll eat chopped meat and steak, but they're not eating live food. But they love live food. Bill, hold them again. I got another snake I want to show you, a little bit smaller. A little bit smaller. Bill, put your arm next to your body. He's not going to hurt you.
No, I like him like this. I think
You like him like that. You like him from a distance.
Let's just keep him. Look, he likes me too.
Okay.
See, as long as I'm holding this one, then I don't have to worry that he won't ask me, of course, to hold this one.
This is quite a guy. Okay, if we can get a look at him. This is a Burmese python. They're from Southeast Asia, and they they live to be about 25 years or 30 years. This one here is, take the end of this. Let's show the audience how long this guy is. 2 snakes, one in each hand. I never thought he'd do it. But come on, huh?
Anybody in the audience want to jump rope?
And you know what, Bill? Let's put him down.
Good.
I want to talk to you a little bit about this snake. You know, this is not the type of snake that I would recommend as... Where are you going? This is not the type of snake that I would recommend as a pet. The reason is, this one's only 3 years old. They'll get to be 26, 27 feet tall.
They need their
Tall,
own
long,
apartment.
not tall. Exactly. In fact, the guy who owns the snake said to me that he's going to get a new apartment with a special room just for this snake. This, by the way, is Paco.
Paco.
This is Paco.
Named after the famous radio
Paco the
personality.
python. And you know, these snakes over here, the way they eat food, okay, let me stretch them
We're
out.
going to get a phone call, Warren.
Okay, the way they eat food, by the way, is people think they wrap around you and they choke you. They don't do that. They wrap around and wait till you breathe, and then they choke you. It's different.
Warren,
Okay.
I've hit the phone line, and someone on the
Okay.
air with a question
Hello?
for Warren Eckstein. Go ahead.
Good morning, Warren.
Good morning.
I have a question. We have a ball python, about
Okay.
3.5 feet long.
Uh-huh.
We have a great problem with his shedding. He never completely loses all the skin on his nose and eyes.
Okay,
Constantly has to be picked off. We
One
have
of-
rocks
one of the-
and gravel.
One of the problems with that is to put some, I would suggest putting some wood in with the snake. Like a lot of old branches, so it has something to rub off. You know, snakes, the reason they outgrow their skin is they get so big, so fast. Every time your snake eats, it grows.
Right.
So what I would suggest doing is put some old wood
Well,
in
we
with
have a
him.
manzanita branch in the cage with him.
Put more wood in with the
More
bark
wood.
still on it. Let him rub up against the bark, and eventually, you know, some snakes you do have to pick it off with a tweezer. But in most cases, if you take the snake and you put some wood in with him, the shed. This one, by the way, is in shed right now, which is unusual. They're usually pretty aggressive. You want to hold them?
No,
when
thanks.
they're in shed.
I'm
We
so
have
busy
a
back here with the
python,
phone
too.
calls.
We have a boa also.
A boa is a good snake also, but I usually don't recommend the boas from South America and Brazil as pets because they just get too big and there's no place to put them.
We have a chameleon.
They make
Chameleons
great,
are nice. They don't get too big.
They make great guard pets. These animals.
Would somebody break into a house with this?
Hi, next up, you're on
Hello.
you're live on Saturday morning. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Bob from Greenwich Village. I have a lot of mice in my backyard, and I was wondering, would a snake help? And what kind of a snake? Males and females? Will they stay in the yard? Will they live in the yard?
Well, I don't suggest putting a snake in the backyard loose, not because I won't like them, but I don't think your neighbors are going to hang out too long. So what I would suggest doing is if you get a snake and you keep them in the apartment with you, though, and you let them loose every once in a while, you're going to rid your apartment of rodents. That's what they're known for. They love to eat rodents, and they're probably a lot safer than a lot of the exterminators I've been seeing.
Thank you for that call. You know, I think another function of a snake like this is as a guard animal. If you broke into somebody's apartment or someone broke into your, and you had a 30, you're going to leave pretty quickly.
Do you know there's a jewelry shop in Los Angeles and the guy put a couple of snakes in the jewelry case with the jewelry and nobody's gone and robbed him since. Better than dogs, guard snakes. We started something new.
Do you know about our pet talent search?
Yes, I know about our pet talent search.
Tell folks
Great idea. If you have a pet out there that does anything, speaks, talks, plays poker, anything.
How about sleep?
Even if he sleeps. So some pets sleep funny. Send a letter to me and we're going to bring him on the show. We're going to audition him and show just what the tri-state area pets are really like. Even a snake. Kiss my snake,
No. I want to say one thing. If you like jogging, jogging with heavy hands, it's a new way to do it. All right, no more calls. I want you to stay tuned for Joel Rapp, Mr. Mother Earth, with some gorgeous desert plants. So whether you're in the desert or not, he's going to take your calls also, 212-570-1199, right after these messages. Bye. Well, here we have Joel Rapp, Mr. Mother Earth himself, wrapped in reading a book. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning, Bill. I was reading about cactus.
I don't blame you for reading about it. You've got a beautiful display here. My one question is, can plants like this live indoors, or do they really have to be in the desert to really flourish?
Bill, the truth is that cactus and succulents...
Succulents?
Yes, you think this is going to be a joke. The cactus and succulents live better indoors than any kind of plant in this book, and there's 16,000 plants here.
Succulents?
Cacti and succulents, and during the course of this segment, somehow or another, I will explain the difference, if there is one, between cactus and succulents.
This is a rather large book, Joel.
This is called The Exotica. I often refer to this book, and I wish everyone who loved plants could afford it. I can't, hardly. It's got in it, Bill, look at this. It's got pictures of every plant in the entire kingdom, and the cactus section alone, so we'll know what we're dealing with, is this.
I mean, this is truly, it's a life study to know this.
There are 2,000 different varieties of cactus, each one more spectacular and beautiful than the other. Today, unfortunately, we only have a few, but I'll try to get people into cactus.
Good. Don't forget to answer the classic question, how often do you water your cactus?
Oh, fear not.
Okay.
We shall.
I'm going to go play with the turtle now.
Okay.
See you later.
Good
Bye.
luck. Good luck. Good morning, philodendron fans. We are indeed going to discuss cactus and succulents this morning. And I'll tell you something. I have always liked cactus and succulents, but last night as I sat with my Exotica here, reading about them, looking at these thousands of pictures, I think I fell in love. I know that's a little sick. I thought it was sick for Warren to be walking around loving a snake, but I think I'm going to love some cactus this morning. And the reason is that these are very, very unique plants. Cactus and succulents are, well, these are plants which had to evolve. I guess it's back in the Pleistocene era, or one of those millions and millions of years ago, prehistoric times. These plants were all living in in forests with moisture and humidity and one thing and another. Then the earth began to change. And as a result of the new climate and the new atmosphere, the cactus plants, they weren't really cactus yet, had to become different. If we can walk this way, please, I'll show you some...
exactly like that.
Walk this way, please. I'll try to show you some of the more interesting aspects and the differences between cactus and succulents. Okay, by definition, all cactus are succulents. All succulents are not cactus, but don't let that bother you. The basic bottom line, both of them, is that they contain, such as this kalanchoe here, which is a succulent, all the cactus and succulents contain water in their fleshy leaves. That is the actual key. That's what makes them different from your ordinary Chinese evergreens, aspidistras, the house plants, the foliage plants. These plants, all of them, can store water in their leaves. Okay? Now, as you see, this is a succulent. Okay. Here we have an example of what is called a foliage, a leafy cactus. This is a euphorbia. Now, this represents perhaps this variety, actually, about 10% of the cactus family, these leafy types. And over here, these particular types here, these are the traditional desert cacti, which really make up, as I say, about 90% of the cactus family. Now, the basic care of all your cactus and succulents is relatively the same. Let's take this jade plant, for instance. You're all very, very familiar with the jade plant. Okay, the most common type of succulent, perhaps. Next to it is a cactus, perhaps the most common form of cactus that you see all over town, a rabbit ears opuntia. Okay, the care of these plants is identical. Lots and lots and lots of bright light. They will not do without tons and tons of bright light. And as Bill mentioned, as we talked before, water is probably as important, or lack of water, is as important to the cactus and succulents as light. They must not be watered in the winter. Let's remember, we're coming up to winter now, so we'll start with what we shouldn't do. Your cactus during the winter must be left to dry out, bone dry. Okay, I mean this very seriously, gang, because if you water the cactus more than once every couple of weeks during the winter, or once a month, they're going to rot on you. All right? And the same thing for the succulents. So let's move on and have a look at some of the more exciting things. This particular cactus here, this is a barrel cactus. All of these, by the way, come from Paradise Design over on 6th Avenue, and they all represent the kinds of things you can buy in the marketplace. If you're into cactus, and I hope you'll get into it, you'll have to find places, you'll have to go shopping. It becomes an adventure trying to seek out exciting cactus. This is called a barrel cactus, and this is one of those kinds that stores water inside. Anne-Marie mentioned to me that in Germany they call this particular cactus a mother-in-law seat. Okay? You make up your own conclusion as to why. And of course, this is a very common succulent. This is called the black rose. This is a very, very common succulent. And let me again, I'm going to stress things as we go along, remind you that in dealing with these are desert cacti, these three here. In dealing with these cacti, remember the rules of care. Very important. Must be planted in soil, not plain sand. You might want to put a layer of sand, as they have done here, on the top to give it that sort of desert look. But cactus need to be planted in potting mix. A more porous potting mix, perhaps, than the ordinary mix, but nonetheless, regular potting mix. All right, here we have this extraordinary large agave, often known as a century plant. Someone once asked me, why do they call it a century plant? Is it because it only blooms once every 100 years? Is it because it only lives 100 years? I don't have the faintest idea. I only know that that's what they call it. And blooms. I heard myself say blooms. Let me mention about all cactus and all succulents that if you care for them properly, as we have discussed, they will bloom every year indoors.
Phone call for Mr. Mother Earth.
Oh,
phone call.
But we're not even nearly through. All right, we've
got someone on the line
Okay.
who wants Earth. Someone who wants Earth. Hi. Good morning. You're live on Saturday morning.
Hi. We used to have a cactus garden, and all of a sudden they all died out. So then we planted a succulent garden, and now we're trying to put the cactus back in, and they won't grow anymore.
Well, that's interesting, but I'm not certain as to exactly what the question was. There shouldn't be a problem in
mixing the two.
No, definitely not, because as we said earlier, all cactus are succulents, all succulents are cactus. The actual botanical differences, Bill, are much too complicated, but remember what we said.
Too complicated for you, Mr. Mother Earth?
Well, not for me, but to get into here.
Oh, I understand.
But the point is that they will all store their water in the fleshy leaves, which means do not overwater.
I wonder what it would taste like if you actually had to do that. Thank you for that call. Let's take another call, okay? Good morning. You're live on Saturday morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Hi.
Lucius Copeland here. Bill, I want to ask Joe a question.
Go to it.
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
My wife have a jade right here on the table in front of me now that she in the process of repotting. Will you give her a description? Let her know how to repot it right away.
Okay, very quick.
I don't want nothing to happen to the plant. It's a beautiful plant.
Okay, very quickly.
Thanks for the call.
Very quickly. You should do it carefully. I would say that in repotting any cactus or succulent, be careful, they do have spines. But don't transplant the cactus or succulents until they absolutely need to be transplanted. They can grow in small pots. They like to be root bound. So unless that pot is bursting, tell her to leave it alone. Okay?
Okay, listen, Joel, you're going to be broadcasting on a radio show. Why don't you tell us about
Oh, yes, I do it. I'll be over at the Armory, the 7th Regiment Armory, which is at 67th and Park, between 3 and 6 this afternoon, broadcasting live my WABC radio program. So if any of you have a sick plant or a plant you would like to have me identify, please come on over to the Armory and we'll chat on the radio, okay?
Okay, Mr. Mother Earth.
Thanks, Bill.
No more calls, but coming up next we have Susan Lewin with some fabulous Formica furniture. Take a look at this and stay tuned. Welcome back. Take a look at this piece of furniture. The Formica Corporation recently invited top designers to create objects out of their new material, which is called Color Core. We have with us on today's program the results of that competition, and here to tell us about it is Susan Lewin. Susan. I hated to get up from this thing. This is a beautiful piece of furniture. Tell us about it. I felt a little odd sitting in it, though.
Well, when you sit in it, a tiny culture of worshipers performs exotic rituals in the chair.
That's exactly why I didn't feel like getting up. They were just starting their ritual when I...
The ceremonies only take place when you're seated in the chair, and you kind of fluctuate between the sensation of ants in the pants and feeling like a god.
I prefer the latter. Anyway, tell us, who made this? And Color Core actually is what? It's the material that is covering all this is wood.
Right. Color Core is a new material made by Formica Corporation that has all the high performance characteristics of traditional Formica brand laminate.
Well, what's so special about Color Core, actually?
But Color Core has color all the way through, and so there are no seams. And in fact, the monumental quality of this chair, the fact that it looks a little bit like a South American Indian temple, is the fact that there are no seams, and you have a feeling of solidity and mass. Plus, you can decorate it.
But you're talking about competition. Now, what was the actual assignment that you gave the designers?
Well, we asked them to explore all the characteristics of this new material. We knew that
whatever they wanted to do.
Anything. It had to be a conceptual object, but it could be no larger than 64 cubic feet, because we didn't want anyone designing the Brooklyn Bridge.
No.
Because we did commit ourselves to building the objects in our design center in Cincinnati, Ohio.
The only question I have about this one, which is a very interesting piece of furniture, is how do you get the thing into your apartment? Let's move over and take a look at the next piece over here, all right?
This is the third prize winner. And the winner of this, Brian Fachot from New Orleans, Louisiana, discovered that Color Core had another characteristic. It could seem like fabric. So here you have the table and the tablecloth. He's just very carefully chipped the Color Core because it's homogeneous color. In fact, that's one of the great things about it. It's totally resistant to abrasion and chips.
Do you think after a while went by that you might get a little tired of the chipped look, though? I like the way it looks now, but day in and day out, I wonder if you'd end up thinking, gee, let's just Color Core the whole thing over flat.
You can do that.
You could reapply it over the top.
Absolutely.
How about the last piece over here? That was the third. This is the
yeah,
first.
This is the first prize winner by. Their names are Lewis and Clark from Columbia, South Carolina.
Sure, Lewis and Clark. I believe it. Now, this may take a couple minutes. This is actually a chair, right? Right. And it's a special design. You'd have to be in some nice relationship to have a chair like this. May I assist you into it?
It's not exactly the world's most comfortable chair, but it's designed by a famous architect from Chicago named Stanley Tigerman. And Stanley decided that
Where's the chiropractor that goes with the chair?
But Stanley decided that this chair was for people that have nice relationships but fight about reading the newspaper. This chair was designed so that two people could simultaneously read the New York Times.
The people from the Post and the News aren't going to like this. This is a very interesting thing. It's all, it's also very romantic. You can sort of see yourself You'd be so easy to love. You know, just sitting on a cozy night like this, provided your back could take it.
I call this chair Stanley's Revenge.
Susan, where could we see the rest of the units that were involved in the competition?
We're exhibiting them this week for those of you who are in New York City at the Puck Building down in Soho at 295 Lafayette Street.
The colors are beautiful. What is the actual range of colors? This is like early Beverly Hills Hotel, pink and green here. What's
there
the
are
range?
72 colors.
Really?
Yes.
And over here it's a lighter blue and a pink.
Right.
And this is on the market right now?
Absolutely. It's been on the market for a year, and we had the design competition so that designers and architects could find out about how special the material was, and you can see that they really threw themselves into it.
Is this going to put regular Formica out of business?
Oh, of course not. You know, each product serves a specific need. This is for places where very high durability and resistance to abrasion is needed, and also it has the ability to be decorated, as you can see.
Good. Interesting stuff. If I had a crane, I could easily get out of here and continue with the show. Thank you very much, Susan. Now, coming up in our next hour is the return of the swap shop. We have Annemarie Huste with brand new kitchen equipment. Serena, the belly dancer, is going to be here. We also have Leonard McGill, who has some men's vintage clothing. Coming up next is Mike Gallagher, who's going to take your calls, 212-570-1199. All of that after this from them. Now, get the cramp. Well, good morning, Mike. I understand that today you're going to show us, literally on television, how to unclog a drain.
We've had everything on the show. Right. Even a kitchen sink.
Last time I was here, we did the closet, remember?
Right.
My approach is to either get Drano and be very careful, or preferably just to call the super and go to a movie.
But you got a super.
Yeah, that's true.
What if you own the apartment?
If I own the apartment?
Or a house?
Well, then I'd be in
You'd
trouble.
call a friend. You'd say,
yo,
Mike, will you come over?
Seriously, there are all manner of things that cause a drain to clog up. How do you know when it's a job for like a chemical solution like a Drano, or how do you know when it's more severe?
I would use a chemical if it's just slow. I think the chemicals cut grease. But if it's a complete stoppage, the stoppage usually is within a foot of the trap.
What about hair? I notice you have plenty of it.
Hey, I used to have more.
Do the chemicals with like
you didn't know me then.
No.
I used to have more.
You did? I didn't know that.
Does anybody remember?
Oh, when you had the long hair. Listen, I think you're coming back. He's making a comeback here.
I can almost tie it back now. No.
Does Drano work on hair?
They say it does.
The Drano.
But I don't put it in my pipes. Okay?
I wouldn't put it in my pipe either. Well, let's take your approach to fixing a sink.
Basically, 70% of the time, your stoppage is between the trap and within 1 foot, either on this side or back into the wall.
How do you know that? Just based on percentages?
Just based on percentage.
Alan Zweibel, original Saturday Night Live writer and Thurber Prize-winning author of The Other Showman, says, "The Adventures of Spike the Wonder Dog is so smart, witty, and inventive that I had to keep reminding myself that I didn't write it.